All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this daily forecast. So, for tomorrow is going to be Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. I know, I'm sorry, I am late. I was on the road, and so I'm I'm here now, so let's do it right now. Anyways, we didn't miss anything crazy. I did take a look at the markets quickly around 5 p.m., and everything was mostly just a consolidation. So I didn't see the point of like stopping on the side of the road to do the forecast. I just figured I'm gonna arrive to my destination and do the forecast later. So here we are, guys. So if we start by looking at the dollar here, exactly what I said is happening. Okay. So we initially retraced back into the bearish fair value gap. Now the next target is to sweep last week's low to then start going higher like this. Okay. So the bias for tomorrow is extremely bearish on the majors, well, on the dollar, sorry. And so from this 4 hour fair value gap right here, we can definitely continue lower towards uh, this low, which is it's the previous week's low basically, and we can sweep that to then continue higher. Okay, so the dollar. Let's look at the majors. So on AU here, we're still waiting for higher retracement all the way back into the fair value area. So that's what I'm waiting for. If we don't get that retracement, then I'm not looking at AU. EU, we're simply just waiting for a retracement back inside the weekly fair value gap, which didn't happen yet, but it does seem like we want to set up, like we're setting up to trade back inside that weekly fair value gap. Now, if we look at NU, very similar, same scenario here, just waiting for that sting. USD Canadian, we want to see lower prices here, retraced all the way back to the weekly fair value gap. Yeah, that's a weekly fair value gap, right? Yeah, and also into the fair value area. And then finally, USD CHF. So in USD CHF, we got this thing back inside this daily fair value gap, so that looks a lot like the dollar. Now we want to see lower prices from here, targeting the previous week's low to sweep it and then start going higher instead. So yeah, all the majors are still interesting, the ones that are on the interest list, of course, but we're just waiting for some movement. Okay, because so far we didn't get that movement yet. Most of them were just waiting for sting inside a weekly fair value gap. Okay, moving on to the metals, gold. So that was just a massive consolidation throughout the entire day. Nothing really interesting here, I have to be honest. On the metals, yes, there's this tiny bullish fair value gap, but I don't think that's gonna hold price back. Um, we are currently two candle rejection is holding here. That's pretty interesting. So we had this 4 hour fair value gap that we created during the London session yesterday. And so first candle is not a rejection. Second candle, we can argue this is a really good rejection. So right now, gold does look like it wants to continue lower. I'm just disappointed because we didn't really get this thing. We didn't really get the sweep actually of this swing high right here, which happens to be a daily swing high. I was expecting price to go a little bit higher at the beginning of the day. So right now, this move lower seems a little bit suspicious. So I would want to be careful here on gold, and probably wait for price to reach inside that daily fair value gap, see how price is going to react to it. Okay, because we could just be aiming down into that daily fair value gap to then have a reversal and start going higher instead. So you want to be careful about that. Then silver, also a massive consolidation. But what I do like about silver right here is that we have no PDRA going against us. We got the beautiful, extremely accurate sting inside, well, the fair value gap, the weekly fair value gap, and that fair value area that we were looking for, and price just started moving lower from there. So right now, the problem I have with silver is that we don't have any clear PD array we can trade from. Because on gold, we had this 4 hour fair value gap, on silver, we don't. So that's a little bit more 50-50 in my opinion. Um, but overall, I think tomorrow can continue lower. If we can create some kind of like, bearish momentum, potentially a 4 hour fair value gap right here would be interesting. Um, yeah, we could be looking for a short here on silver. All right, sorry. I had a call I had to take, but I'm back. So we were saying silver, lower prices tomorrow, probably just waiting for that 4 hour fair value gap to create. Maybe even the same thing on gold potentially. But still be careful here on the metals because gold never swept that daily high, never reached the golden level, and that is a little bit suspicious in my opinion. So be careful on the metals. Next, crude oil, massive, like this is the absolute definition of a consolidation um, today. Just overall, really bad. I have nothing to say here. Literally nothing to say. Moving on to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was, I remember at some point this morning, it was down like almost 3%, and then it completely reversed out of, you could argue, out of nothing. And right now, this is starting to be a little bit worrisome because this candle that we got today is pretty strong bullish candle. And so I'm a little bit worried. I'm not gonna lie. But again, we can still reject from the 0.75 level. We can also just simply go all the way back up here to sweep this daily swing high. There's many scenarios here, but Bitcoin doesn't look too clear right now. It does look like it's doing random things, and when a market is doing random things, you want to stay as far away as possible from it. Okay? Because that's clearly not what Bitcoin is supposed to be doing. Bitcoin is supposed to be going lower. We all know that, right? All right. So moving on to the indices, the S&P 500 here. Yeah, mostly consolidation, but overall a bullish day. We have a 4 hour fair value gap, which is not good. I am a little bit worried about that too. Let's see. Maybe we could be in the process of sweeping this swing high, which is probably like a daily swing high. It's actually a weekly swing high as well. Um, I don't know. To me, it does seem like we could be sweeping that high. It's a little bit hard to tell because if we take that entire range, mm, I don't know, lads. It does seem I have to be objective here. I don't think we're sweeping that high. I think we're continuing higher, potentially from this 4 hour fair value gap to target this high. It's not the all-time high. The all-time high is all the way up here. But if we're sweeping something, it's going to be this one, not this one. This is a little bit worrisome, but overall, I would say bullish here on the S&P tomorrow. Then Nasdaq is completely different, and that's why I'm so like um, all over the place right now, and I don't really know what to think. Is that Nasdaq says bearish, well, it's clearly bearish, and then you have the S&P that is mostly bullish, and so yeah, it's a little bit how can I say this? It's a little bit confusing. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Um, so we got a weird candle today on Monday where we opened higher and then we just consolidated throughout the day. But overall, we are still within this range. and we are still respecting the zero point 0.5 level pretty well here on Nasdaq. Yes, we didn't get the sting into the golden level. We could, but right now it doesn't seem likely. That looks a lot more like the metals. This looks a lot more like silver and gold, and that's why I prefer Nasdaq here. And also, it does look like it wants to continue lower. I don't know, guys. It's really hard to tell right now. I can't find the clear bias. We'll have to wait for tomorrow. Honestly, it's about waiting and seeing, waiting for price to clear up because today didn't move anywhere, didn't do anything significant, mostly consolidated. So we we don't have good enough evidence that price wants to go higher or lower yet. We have to wait for a breakout. And finally, let's look at the crosses. We had a couple ones on the interest list. Well, okay, this is not good. I don't like this. The first candle right here, we just completely, we could almost say we disrespected that daily fair value. Yep, technically we didn't yet. We have to wait for that second candle to reject. But this move higher looks pretty strong. And yeah, that's not very good. I'll keep it on the interest list because we can still reject. Again, it takes two candles to reject. We can still reject from it, but right now it doesn't seem like that's what we want to do. Canadian dollar CHF to continue lower. That could be interesting. That could be really good. We have this fair value area that we can reach. So yeah, potentially higher prices to start the day. We sweep and then we go lower. That's not too bad. That is interesting. Let's keep it on the interest list. Euro CHF. Yeah, this one I'm not. I think I'm gonna remove from the interest list because we completely disrespected this fair value gap. Now, yes, there's a higher fair value gap here, but I don't know. If I was gonna trade a CHF pair, I would focus on Canadian CHF, not Euro CHF. And then New Zealand dollar CHF. Yeah, not too clear. Not too clear. Don't like it. Again, like we could sweep the rejection high. So let's remove this fair value area and mark out the rejection high, which is this up. So yeah, I think potentially we can sweep it to continue lower, but I don't know. This is me trying and forcing an idea here. So New Zealand dollar CHF, honestly, let's keep it on the interest list for now. But if I was going to look at one CHF pair, it's going to be Canadian dollar CHF. Then Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Finally, good. Okay, that's perfect. This is finally pushing higher like I said it would. You see this range, we got this thing inside the golden level, and then we just exploded higher. So this is beautiful. This is high probability. This is exactly what we wanted to see, basically. So right now we have this 4 hour range, not a great range. Um, well, we could potentially just wait it out for one day, create that daily fair value gap. Once we have that daily fair value gap, then we come back on Wednesday and we trade from it. But yeah, this is definitely interesting for the remainder of the week to continue higher. GBP New Zealand dollar. Um, yeah, that's not too clear. Ideally, we would want to see a retracement back inside the weekly fair value gap, but doesn't seem like that's what it's doing right now. But we could potentially be sweeping the context high here on the weekly, which is the previous week's high. We could be sweeping it to then come back inside the weekly fair value gap. It's possible. Not great. Let's keep an eye on it. And then GBP Australian dollar. Yeah, nothing changed here. Mostly the same thing. We're just waiting for retracement back inside that weekly fair value gap. All right, lads. Well, that's it for the forecast. As I said, nothing crazy happened today. I think, honestly, I think that's going to be the theme across, across the week until Friday. It's the beginning of the summer, right? And I think we're heading into a period of low volatility, and so more consolidations across markets. But that doesn't mean that we have to stop trading because there is always opportunities, even within, uh, broader consolidations. Okay, so for tomorrow, I would say the dollar, we want to see lower prices until we reach the previous week's low. So there's a couple majors that are interesting. We're just waiting for retracements inside weekly fair value gaps. After that, if we look at the metals, I'm still remaining bearish on the metals. It's just not too clear right now. I want to wait for some more evidence, probably in the form of a 4 hour fair value gap. Um, like on silver, for example, 4 hour fair value gap would be great. Even 1 hour fair value gap would be a good evidence. But right now, just consolidating and not really going anywhere. So be careful. Crude oil, I have nothing to say here. It's just a massive consolidation. It's probably going to stay around this level for a big part of the summer. So not really interesting. Bitcoin, doing random things. So again, be careful. We're in low volatility conditions. So Bitcoin can be very choppy. We know that. But overall, we're still keeping the bearish long-term bias. And also, like, I also want to mention this. We are in a third candle consolidation on the monthly here on Bitcoin. And I think the most likely thing for price to do right now is to just consolidate throughout the entire month of July in order to create that bearish fair value gap that we can continue lower from later towards the end of the year. Okay, so I just needed to put that out there. But right now, don't trust Bitcoin. Don't trust what it's doing. Definitely don't buy Bitcoin. This is not a good move higher right here. And then finally, the indices, I'm seeing lower prices tomorrow, especially on Nasdaq. Nasdaq is definitely heading lower tomorrow. S&P, really hard to tell. It's really, really hard to tell. We could be sweeping this swing high, sorry. It's a possibility, but we also have a 4 hour fair value gap right there that we can continue higher from. So I guess it would be about seeing what price does when it reaches this fair value gap. Okay? But overall, still bearish on the long term here on the indices. All right, lads. Well, that's it for today's forecast. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry, I know I'm late, but tomorrow should be fine. I should be on time for the forecast, and so we'll see if things change throughout the day. So thank you for listening, and I will see you tomorrow. Ciao.